In 1997, the African continent witnessed the tragic separation of one of its biggest bands, Wenge Musica. 1 year later, some key members of that band, freed from the presence of other members they didn't like, further rubbed salt in the wound by recording an album that they named Titanic. The title did not only refer to the name of the cinematographic masterpiece that came out the year before, but it was also used to describe the key members as the sole survivors of the giant orchestra that had just sunk. The story is much more exciting when you realize that the guys on the cover had no clue that a few of their partners had survived as well. So hello, welcome to the Botengu channel. I use this channel to show videos about music theory, others with myself playing music, and I also like to make small documentaries on African music. You can like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. In this video, I will use the story of one of my favorite bands to explain some of the dynamics that seem to take place in many industries. Today, in DRC and Africa, when we talk about Wenge Musica, we need to specify whether we're talking about Wenge Musica BCBG or Wenge Musica Maison Mère. Wenge Musica BCBG is a popular musical group led by the charismatic Jean Bedel Mpiana, aka JB Mpiana, while Wenge Musica Maison Mère is led by the strategic Noel Ngama Makanda, aka Werason. It is worth mentioning that there are other Wenge fractions as well. However, none of them quite have the same level of fame that the two former have, and I believe there's a reason why. Once upon a time, there was Wenge Musica. Wenge Musica was an orchestra originally from Bandalungwa in Kinshasa. It was created in 1981. It was originally a youth orchestra whose primary goal was to keep the young busy during the vacation. There are different versions of the origins of the name Wenge, but the name Musica is for sure a tribute to the band of their idol, Papa Wemba's Viva la Musica.
A band comprised of university students take as their theme the virtue of being always clean and presentable, the Kinshasa version of bon chic, bon genre.
The orchestra really took off in 1988, and from that moment on forward, all the band did was win. Wenge Musica was the combination of two ideologies: the composition and the choir scheme of Victoria Eleison, and the dynamic, innovative animation and synchronized choreographies of Zaiko Langalanga. In terms of structure, Wenge Musica had little to envy to other groups. They had 6 main leadership positions. 2 minor leadership roles were given to Blaise Boula and Adolphe Dominguez. Both were members who had joined the band after the 4 main administrators. The first administrator was Didier Masela. Fondé, as he was often called, was the founder of the group. His role was more symbolic. He was also the main bass player from the start until the dislocation. The second administrator was Alain Makaba, also called Ordinateur, 48 Mémoire, due to his musical perfectionism. He was the lead guitarist and the artistic director of the band. He was a key figure in every step of the music creation process, from the voice training to the choir to the mixing session in the studio, and he could play nearly all the instruments. The third administrator was JB Mpiana. JB was also known as le leader charismatique de la 4e génération de la musique congolaise. He also had a symbolic position. He was an administrative president of Wenge Musica. To be clear, he wasn't the president of the other administrators, but he was the president of the recruits. He was also the lead singer. The fourth administrator was Werason. Werason, also called Le Roi de la Forêt, was a vocalist and the financial administrator of the group. He also acted as a fierce recruiter and strategist. To summarize the advent of Wenge Musica in one sentence, we can say the following. Wenge Musica was the junction of 4 elements: the idea of Masela, the genius of Makaba, the charisma of JB Mpiana, and the strategy of Werason. Because all good things come to an end, Wenge Musica was dislocated in 97. Some attribute the dislocation to the ambition of the producer at the time, Monsieur Simon. Others attribute it to the inflammatory words spoken by the late Papa Wemba.
Oyo kombo nango muzika. Respect à trop na ba petit frère. Mi balete monko kaka. Praise. Merci.
Others simply claim that there was a divergence of philosophies between the administrators, which made the group more fragile. Nasty is a euphemism when trying to qualify their breakup. It even ended up with a dispute on stage, in which Papa Wemba himself had to intervene.
Vraiment serré toi. Parce que ceux qui vont dormir, ils vont oyo. Parce que sur ma rosti ma motu.
Nonetheless, the focus of this video is not on the separation, but rather on what happened after. Jibim Piana, Makaba, and Blaise Boula left with most of the crew to form Wenge BCBG, while Werason, Marcela, and Dominguez stayed in Kinshasa and had to start Wenge Musica Maison Mère almost from scratch. A few years later, Makaba and Boula left BCBG, which consolidated Piana's power over the group. The same thing happened on the other side, and it was Werason who ended up with the full control of the group. Now this is where it gets interesting. To understand why Piana and Werason emerge, one needs to understand why they are loved. Despite BCBG's large membership, the group's success is centered around Piana's charisma. BCBG can even be seen as his accompanying band. On the other side, Maison Mère's success is centered around a dynamic landscape of young recruits, which is often renewed. Maison Mère's success is based more on the exploitation of the animation, which is again the fruit of Werason's vision, who even went as far as making a show out of the rehearsal and the recruiting process in his training ground, Zamba Zamba. Now, it is also true that it's easier for vocalists to emerge compared to instrumentists, especially in DRC. That still doesn't take away the point of this video. The reason I'm saying all of this is because too often, whether it's in the music industry or any other industry, history shows little mercy to the originator of an idea or to the talented ones. Instead, it tends to reward the leaders who have had a vision that they carried out strategically and which they charismatically shared with others.